Never give up, never surrender.
I have one job on this lousy ship. It's stupid, but I'm gonna do it, okay?
That was a hell of a thing.
By Grabthar's hammer, by the sons of Orvan, you shall be avenged.
Welcome back to Normies Like Us. We got a special one for you this episode. We're taking a break, like we said, up top from a little Star Trek to instead boldly go where actors are going. That's right. It's Galaxy Quest here on Normies Like Us with your hosts, Commander Colin.
This is Gwen DeMico. I will repeat the computer.
And this is your brave commander, Jacob Neesmith.
Wow.
Hey.
You know,
Deep
the main
cuts.
character, Tim Allen.
I'll take back.
Mhm.
I'm the green guy with the eye patch. I'm the villain.
Sure. Okay, Saris. Yeah.
Saris.
Nobody wanted to be Dr. Lazarus.
I'm an actor, damn it.
The late great.
Fuck
Alan
curtain
Rickman.
call.
The late great.
So,
Now
questing.
we're questing because we have said, now normies, go back and listen. If you're a regular listener on this podcast, you would know we've been talking a lot of Star Trek over the year. We used to do a sort of month-long deep dive on projects, but now we of course have been stretching it out, giving you one Star Trek episode a month. We finished with the OG series, and I pitched to these guys, after we finish the original crew movies, let's take a break, where we jump over to a little man named Jean-Luc, and let's stay with the OG Trek and do what I'm going to just go ahead and just headline and say is the best Star Trek movie ever made and talk Galaxy Quest.
Wow. Yeah, I think it's a great palate cleanser between the eras to kind of have this sort of satire of Star Trek, right?
Yeah. It's a bit of, it has a foot in each realm of the behind the scenes kind of drama and stuff amongst the cast that we talked about in those earlier Star Trek episodes, with Shatner, Nimoy and stuff like that. And then there's also like an actual space adventure happening. So it's a little bit of, satire of both aspects of the Star Trek franchise. And we'll see if it's the best one of all. We got to get through Nemesis, but I enjoyed it a lot. And it's going to be cool to talk about something that's Star Trek adjacent,
Definitely.
Now, Mike, before we jump in, have you seen this before?
I'd seen it like VHS, back in the day. So it's been, I watched it since being a Star Trek fan. Let's put it that way.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I watched it as a space comedy, but I had never watched any serious Star Trek because I was younger. So it's cool to watch it now, knowing what I know.
That's a great point.
I am in the same boat as you. I have, I saw this movie in theaters when it came out.
Whoa.
And so I kind of have a very, distinct memory of seeing this movie. It came out December 99. My birthday is in January, so I turned 10 January 2000. And for my birthday, my parents are like, all right, we're going to take you out. We're going to go see a movie. We're going to get some dinner. It's just going to be you. I have like 3 siblings, so it was just me and my parents kind of, one-on-one time. It was, a little birthday dinner. And, I checked the, what's in theaters right now. I did not know what Star Trek was at the time. Obviously, I was 10. But I'll tell you what I did know and was a huge fan of, and that's a little something called Star Wars. Maybe you've heard of it.
Oh, yeah.
A little movie called Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, came out that same year. And, I was a pretty big fan of that movie.
What a year for sci-fi, Jacob. Wow.
Yeah, right?
Wow.
So I looked in the newspaper and I saw, Galaxy Quest. Don't know what this is. Sci-fi, space. Hey, I'm in. I love sci-fi. So I went and saw Galaxy Quest in theaters, 10 years old, and I freaking loved it. Like you're saying, it's not only a great parody of Star Trek, it's just like a great movie in general. Like
Totally.
It's a super funny comedy, and it's got a lot of heart, and it's just a great action adventure.
Yeah, and the ensemble cast is great too. So
absolutely. So I was very into it. Didn't even realize that it was really a parody of Star Trek because I didn't really know what Star Trek was. I just thought it was a great action comedy adventure movie.
And what's your
So-
background on this, Colin? Yeah.
I'm going to say exactly the same as you two down the middle. Did not see it in theaters, Jacob. Super jealous of that. But Mike, a home staple VHS rental, maybe one of the first DVDs we ever bought. You know, I don't know. But it is a distinct memory to me as the only movie my father ever invited friends over to watch a movie with, because they were all so excited about it. And
Oh,
just
wow.
seeing grown men as a kid be like, ha ha ha, just like laughing their heads off. And I've said on our past Star Trek episodes, my dad was a Kirk guy. Like, all he did was watch OG Trek. He never went beyond that. So to
Right.
get what this is, it resonated with real fans. Let me tell you that, guys.
Well, that's what's great. So like they were enjoying it on another level, but you were just enjoying it as a kid. Like
Hey,
it just holds up.
Had we gotten a Santa Claus movie at this point? I don't know where we are with like the Tim Allen of it all, but it's like I liked Tim Allen as a kid. I watched Home Improvement. Like,
Yep.
like I was just so in for this thing, Jacob.
And I am not really a Tim Allen fan at all. In fact, this is probably the only Tim Allen anything that I really like. But I do think it was great casting and getting a guy that is like a Shatner type, where he's very egotistical.
But
Yeah.
Jacob, are his two best performances, this and Buzz Lightyear, just pastiches of William Shatner?
Wow.
Is that what he's good
That's
at, Mike?
pretty
I
good.
don't know.
Could be. I mean, they have a lot of similarities. They're both kind of conservative leaning guys in
Assholes.
Hollywood, which is very rare. Notoriously
Jerks.
can be difficult to work with, kind of full of
Yeah.
themselves,
Right.
I think it's great casting, and I'm not a huge fan of him anyway. And then the rest of the ensemble cast is just perfect.
Yeah, I mean, we'll jump into the movie here briefly, but you get Sigourney Weaver, Tony Shalhoub, Justin Long. Shout out to our Halloween episode. We have a 13 Ghosts
Long.
alumni and Tony Shalhoub, and then Justin
Horror
Long
legend.
and Barbarian.
Yeah.
Scream King.
Yeah, it's great
Scream
stuff.
King.
And then obviously Alien, Sigourney Weaver, and
That's
Sigourney
right.
Weaver.
Ghostbusters.
Not
Sam
not a
Rockwell.
star in the bunch, but genre ensemble across the board of comedians, and that's why this goddamn movie works.
Yep,
And a lot of actors that it went on to become bigger names too. So
100%.
it's a lot of it's that person. Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't, like we said, you don't need to know everything about Star Trek to enjoy it, but you'll get, it enhances the experience to have that understanding. But anybody can watch this and enjoy it. So
Definitely.
and that's what we did this week. That's you guys want to see the ship? Let's get some transport
Let's see
units
it.
ready and hop into the episode. That
Got me a limo.
was a hell of a thing.
We're back. You heard us up top talking Galaxy Quest. Now we're going to dive into it and talk about the film, the making of, and just everything we enjoy about this thing.
Yeah. So the making of this movie is a little interesting. It started as a spec script by a guy named David Howard called Captain Starshine, and it was a little more serious. It was a little more focused on the captain. Basically, the studio bought that spec script just for the idea. They didn't like the script, and actually,
Classic.
the original director attached to this. I don't know if you guys know this. Harold Ramis.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Harold Ramis was going to direct. He didn't like the script, but he's like, I like that idea of it, of a bunch of washed up actors basically getting, transported to this, sci-fi adventure.
Mm-hmm.
So they hired another guy named Robert Gordon to rewrite it basically from scratch. With that idea in mind. Harold Ramis was on board to direct. They were casting. He wanted Kevin Kline or Alec Baldwin or Steve Martin for the main role.
All three. That's great.
Yeah,
The Steve Martin one would have been pretty wild.
Steve Martin, interesting. Kevin Kline, I don't know, not a huge fan
Alec
of Kevin
Baldwin, huge asshole, would have worked.
Could have
Kline.
worked in this.
Alec Baldwin
yeah.
could have worked. Eventually, they settled on Tim Allen. Harold Ramis did not like the Tim Allen casting and left the project based on that.
Just
So-
for that.
Wow.
Yeah. He's like, I don't see it with Tim Allen, and left. And then after the movie came out, he saw it and admitted, he's like, oh, it is good. I was wrong about that. So very interesting. But Harold Ramis left the project, so it fell to Dean Parisot to direct. Now, Dean Parisot, he's not done that many things. You might not be familiar with him. He's directed
No.
only 3 movies since this movie. and that was Fun with Dick and Jane, a Jim Carrey movie I've never seen.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Red 2, the sequel to Red, the old
Yeah.
assassins or whatever
Wow.
with Bruce Willis and Morgan Freeman and everything.
Yep. John Malkovich.
And Bill and Ted Face the Music. That's his most recent movie.
Ooh, baby.
Which you guys have seen, right? I have not seen that.
Yeah. What's going on, Dean Parisot? You're not very good.
No, not since this one, but this movie is great.
Right.
It's very strange. He's only made 3 movies since, in the last 22 years. So don't know what's going on with that.
It's
but
all those Galaxy Quest residuals. He doesn't need to work anymore.
I don't know.
He got
so.
one fraction of a penny from my Amazon Prime rental. That went straight to his bank account.
In me
Right.
rewatching the DVD I have had since 2001.
That didn't help.
This movie, when it came out, it was a modest success, but it didn't really live up to what they were hoping. They kind of blamed it on, the studio didn't know how to market it. They marketed it more as a kid-friendly Christmas holiday season film to go up against Stuart Little at the time. And it's like, we blew the marketing on this one.
Jacob, you are taking me. I am time traveling this
Right,
episode, and I am loving it.
So, yeah, but it became sort of a cult hit afterwards, obviously with Star Trek fans and just with people in general kind of reassessing it as like really holding up pretty well even today. And there's been, sequel talk for years, kind of died down a little bit, sadly when Alan Rickman died in 2016. But there has been more talk of it recently. Apparently, as recently as 2021, both Sigourney Weaver and Tim Allen have mentioned perhaps making a sequel.
That would be insane.
Right?
I mean, they're dynamic in the movie. Their characters, they do work well together. I think Sigourney Weaver is really one of everybody's a highlight in this, but whenever she does comedy, you just think of like, Alien and stuff. But Ghostbusters, she's good. She's like really good.
No, it's the ability to say so straight faced in it, Mike. Right? I mean, she is a serious actress who's been up for an Academy Award. Of course, she's good at making you laugh too. She's very committed to things.
She seems to be having fun here. Yeah, I think everybody involved in it. That's kind of the energy.
And Alan Rickman, he wanted to do it because he's like, I don't get to be in comedies that much, and like I'm known as like being villains and that kind of thing, but. I like comedies. I like doing comedy. So he joined this one.
What a Hollywood career for him to have. Because for your first big movie to be Hans Gruber, where you're working with Bruce Willis, it's like, wow, that's a big asshole.
He didn't want to get typecast.
Yeah, but then Jacob, you're doing a movie with Tim Allen. It's like, that's a big asshole too. It's like, God, I'm really rooting for you not to work with these people.
Oh, and in my research, I did come across some pretty interesting stories of Tim Allen on set kind of being an asshole. So
interesting.
We'll get into that too.
The Shatner of it all, I guess.
He was almost
method. He went method, Mike.
Yeah. So technically, this is not like literally in the timeline of the Star Trek movies we watched. This is falling right in between them, more or less, right on the timeline. So
not chronologically, because this was made in '99. There's been several TNG movies.
I was going to say
to this point. Okay.
Yeah.
Including Generations.
Yeah, I think Generations was like 91 or 92. I have to check that, but yeah.
I got shifted off the timeline. Okay, but still, for our listeners and us, the fact that we just completed, the original series stuff, this is pretty pertinent.
Yeah.
Do we want to run through the analogs of who is basically who in this?
Yeah.
Great idea.
So obviously, the basic premise is that a Star Trek-like show was on in 1982, got canceled in 1982. The cast is still doing conventions and stuff, signing autographs, and the main cast is a bunch of kind of washed up actors. Each kind of has their own thing, but you have Tim Allen as the captain, the William Shatner-esque captain.
Mm-hmm.
You have Sigourney Weaver as the, I guess, Nichelle Nichols type character.
Her communications officer only talks to the computer, being the joke.
Right.
Repeats what it says, basically. And
and I think she was also somewhat of a parody of like 7 of 9 at the time, where it's like, people only care about like how her boobs fit in her costume or whatever. Like that's kind of pulled directly from 7 of 9 stuff during that time.
Right.
Then you have Alan Rickman as the Spock, I guess, where he's
Leonard
the
Nimoy.
alien. Yeah, the
Full
logical
doctor.
And as an actor, a more serious British thespian, a Shakespearean actor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who's kind of slumming it and just hates that this is what he's known for, basically.
I am
Who
not
else?
Spock. I am Spock. You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
right.
I wish
yeah.
I wish
We're
they would have
seeing
said that he directed a couple episodes. That would have been the better joke.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's really
Um,
good. But that's
Then
kind
you
of your
have that's your main trio, maybe.
yeah, the main analog, like the closest one-to-ones, and then you have some more
You have
general.
Tony
Yeah,
Shalhoub as
Tony
the sort of
Shalhoub.
engineer, sort of Scotty, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, you have Daryl Mitchell as Tommy Weber, who is the kid pilot. So he's kind of a
Sulu.
Wesley Crusher type.
Wesley Crusher kid
Yeah.
pilot. Yeah. Take us. Yeah, because Crusher does run the navigation at a certain point. He's like
Right.
driving them around in space when everyone's on break, I guess.
Fascinating.
Yeah. And then of
Yeah.
course you have Sam Rockwell as the red shirt extra guy.
Guy.
Do I
Kind
have
of-
the last name? Do I?
Kind
Yeah.
of doing a number one though, right? He's very Jonathan Frakes, right? Like
Yeah.
his sort of look, the beard, the energy and stuff. But yes, of course, he is the stereotype that used to be in the original show of a quote unquote red shirt, which is the unnamed ensemble of, hey Dick, you go check out the glowing green thing. You got it, and just dies immediately on
The
the
guy
Yeah.
that dies to show that the threat is serious in that episode.
when he's
And then-
acting out his death scenes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as an actor, he's still trying to capitalize off his red shirt.
Yes.
Like, and you do see that at autographs too. People have been in one or two episodes as a bit part signing autographs,
Right.
but
The-
he's trying to
the-
like draft off them. Like, hey, can I sit at your
Mike-
table?
The woman who plays the fucking Klingon wife to Worf in like 5 TNG episodes, she has
Mhm.
written
Oh,
books
sure.
about Worf and stuff. Like it's like this. Of course, it happened.
Yeah. So the layer of real life actors and a fake show getting pulled into a real scenario, right? So that's what we're dealing with. Is
And
Yeah.
I
all
would
these
buy
egos
that
and
screenplay.
stuff. Yeah,
Just that
I think it's
idea.
great.
TV
Totally,
show
it's a great
happens to
premise.
X TV cast. Yes.
Yeah, it's a great
Mhm.
premise. And so it starts out they're at a con. Tim Allen meets some people that he thinks are just like people in costume as aliens, but they're actually turns out real aliens.
Mhm.
They need help. They've got the historical documents, which are the show that was
Yep.
broadcast to their planet. They don't know what acting is. They don't have that. And so they beam him up. He doesn't know that it's real at first. They have a big confrontation with the big bad guy, Saris.
Mhm.
And chaos ensues from there, I guess.
Yeah, he's a big Zindi looking head ass, as they would say in
Yes.
Enterprise.
And well, I just wanted to say the effects in this for a comedy from 1999,
I know.
the creature effects and just the special effects are insanely good, right?
and they're really
Like
charming.
they hold
like,
up really well.
even stuff that's goofy, like the rock monster. It's still really charming, and I think the
Yeah.
prosthetics and stuff are good too. Like all the physical
Totally.
There's-
You got to
work
keep
is
in
great.
mind the era, like the CG of this era. Most of it does not look good. Like even compare this to Phantom Menace. Like this looks
Mm,
Yes.
on the level of something like that, right?
There's not
100%.
a bad looking alien in the group. Now, Saris, the main villain, is obviously prosthetic. Jacob, I brought it
He
up
looks
in the
amazing.
episode.
Yeah.
He's got the metal eye patch that's sort of reminiscent
Chang.
of General Chang, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Again, all prosthetic looks incredible. When we go to CG rock monster, it's a rock monster. Anybody can do that. When
Yeah.
you go to the CG amphibian child minor sort of looking things,
Right.
that's not makeup. That's not, that's not a
Yeah,
little
that's
person in
CG.
her foot. That's CG. The
Mhm.
clarity, facial expressions, literally the detailing and speckling, sort of on the face because they have this weird textured skin. Watching it this time, I was like, is Galaxy Quest one of the best made movies ever
Yeah.
made?
It looks
For the
great.
era.
I mean, if you keep in mind the era of CG, like it looks great. It holds up pretty well.
Yeah, let's get out of here before one of those things kills Guy. It's a great line
Yeah.
from that
Great.
scene.
I
But
remember not miners. I
Yeah.
remember that from a kid. Thinking
Great.
that's so funny as
Oh,
a kid.
I still
My
think that's
God.
funny.
Of
Um,
course it is.
But yeah,
And the,
those
rock
guys hold up
monster-
as. Oh, I was just say those miners look as good as Jar Jar, basically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If we're gonna
And
compare.
I mean, consider the budget difference. I'm sure they were doing a lot with not as much budget as Star Wars had, for sure.
it's just like Star Trek would do on TV, and the way their show is portrayed. We're doing a lot with a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, finding it on the fly.
Yeah.
And the rock monster obviously is a reference to the cut rock monster from Final Frontier that Shatner wanted to have. So that's like
Yes.
a little in reference as well.
Yeah. So they all get pulled into the adventure, right? Actors going to space for real. The historic documents is essentially every episode of the show that the aliens think is real, as you were saying, and they're like,
Well,
this is
what
the
about
crew that we
Gilligan's
need.
Island?
Those poor people.
Yeah, they think that that's real too. But
They've just
they
been
have
watching
the
all of
historic
our
documents. Yeah, but
Yeah.
Saris doesn't.
Which
so
was-
it's just them.
But that was a 90s obsession. Do you guys remember the idea? Because Futurama did an episode on it. Simpsons, I'm
Right.
sure, too. Like, truly, cartoons would be like, did you know we're broadcasting these signals? They're just going out there like years from now on Timbuktu. They're going to be watching I Love Lucy and thinking that's what's going on here. Like, I remember that being in science fiction books and stuff and being like, wow.
Sure. And
It
the
is
idea
also-
that they basically invented all this technology that was in the show based on how it is in the show.
To match us.
Right. So they
Yeah.
have like the ship from the show, which they just based on the show, which if you think about it too much, doesn't really make sense. But you know, that's
Well,
kind
but
of
then,
the-
like, even as a kid, I was like, but you just found the Omega 13? What does that mean?
right. Well, they invented something, but they don't know what it does because it was never
Yeah.
shown on the show.
I don't know.
No,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. But they are, squid people too. So it's like we're gonna make a
They're
human
like
form
puppets.
factored ship. Yeah. And they use like a, like a disguise
cloaking
little
thing,
cloaking
yeah, to make
thing.
them look like humans.
Holographic
And the way the
projector.
aliens act, I think, is great too. Like they really act really
Mhm.
alien the way they talk and behave and stuff. I'm just like, man, this is really like they put a lot of thought into this.
Yeah, and you get
Strangely.
like Ryan Wilson in here.
Yeah.
or,
Yes.
like a couple scenes here and there, like Study Young, Justin Long. Interesting grouping.
I don't know the guy's name. I think it's Enrico
Enrico Colatani.
Colatani, who
is
Jacob
Mathazar.
and
Yeah.
you would know as that detective girl's dad. What was her name?
Sure,
Veronica Mars.
Veronica Mars, I guess.
And I would
Oh.
know as Just Shoot Me. I was obsessed with Just Shoot Me as a kid,
Mm.
where he was an ensemble player. Again, anywhere you can stick in a good ensemble comedian, Dean Parisot, I guess, knows that's what you're supposed to do. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, just giving them more personality to be like, oh, they
Yes.
kind of talk weird and they have like this whole culture. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's like,
They
man,
like,
yeah,
can't
it's pretty
laugh
good.
normally.
Ah.
The other cool thing too, as you were mentioning, like, oh, we're just blasting signals out into space. It's like, radio waves and all those stuff. It takes physical time to travel. That's what light speed is, right? A year of light speed. It takes that long for light to move, whatever. So like, if the show's canceled in '82, it's like they're getting it 10 years later, and it's like the best thing to the aliens. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
So that it kind of plays in weirdly, like in a pseudoscience way. I guess I'd
Totally.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're like the biggest fans of the show because they
Yeah,
don't know
yeah.
it's not real.
We prepared the meals of your planet.
Oh,
See the
yeah.
steak dinner.
And
The other
Alan
guy's got
Rickman's
like
got
blue worms.
It's like blood mites or something.
Yeah.
That's great.
And
So-
so, then, of course, then you have the Justin Long
Yes.
obsessed nerd character, which is the kind of represents the super obsessed Trekkies that just like know everything about the show. And I think this film is like really kind of good-hearted about its like parody. Like it's not making fun of Star Trek necessarily. It's very, it's you can tell it's made by people that like love Star Trek, like fans of the show. And even the portrayal of these like super obsessed nerds like is very good-hearted, I think.
Yeah, and I think what it's setting up is, the show, which in the show in the movie that's fake, right? But there was a lot of fans of it. So the fans of this fake show, they were affected by the cast coming together and telling great stories, even if in real life they didn't get along well, much like real Star Trek, because Tim
Right.
Allen in this is a huge asshole. He's dismissing Justin Long, and like he doesn't want to work with his other cast members. So it's almost like being pulled into the real life scenario. They're
Yes.
challenged to behave more like their characters on TV and set aside their differences, and so it's it's meta on all those levels of like,
And that's
you're
all
bigger
direct
than
reference to
an actor, right?
the OG cast not getting along. Obviously Nimoy and Shatner, but also Takai and Shatner, which is still going on today. Grudges that have been held for 60 years. So all that is in
Well,
this.
I just want to rewind what you guys just said, though, because yes, the side nerd plot of Justin Long, these other nerds, their little community, they get the full Harrison Ford Force Awakens treatment of it's real, all of it. Their minds are blown. They get to be sucked in and have fun with it. That is great. Perfect, wonderful performances. To rewind it all the way back to the first convention scene, the realness those extras and nerds are giving to it, of the girl who is dressed up like Sigourney Weaver, who kind of like blushes and covers her mouth when like Tim Allen is kind of like hitting on her again at like the signature area, because those are the people she quote unquote worships. Like it is this movie is so real. I mean, it's just so real. It's so alive. It's so loved.
Yeah.
It's definitely coming from a place of love, and it is one of the best fake convention scenes I've ever seen, as far as feeling like
Guy
real
as a
for a show that
moderator.
doesn't exist. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Like, it's there, Mike. It's like it's there.
And I think it embraces all sides of the fandom too. The way it does bring in Justin Long to be a part of the solution, and by the end of the film, the crew does kind of figure out how to set aside their differences, and then even Tim Allen embraces the fandom, as eventually Shatner would. He rejected it for so long, was a big asshole. So it is them. The character arcs are great because they're so dysfunctional in real life, and then this adventure, and then can they come together, basically.
But you can still have a mom say, "Take out the garbage." You know, you can still be nerds. That's totally fine and acceptable. You're a kid. It's okay, even if this stuff is big and real. I love that about it too.
Yeah, you have no idea how serious this is, Mom. And he's like,
It's like
the trash.
Screen debut. Did you say that earlier, Jacob? Screen debut.
Yeah, it was Justin Long and Rainn Wilson's first, film debut.
Amazing.
Wow,
Yeah.
what a great little thing. But yeah, it's really heartfelt and good. I mean, Tony Shalhoub.
It's hard to talk about comedies.
Yeah, it
Because
is.
we're just going to compliment it, right?
Well, when they're done well. Like, I mean, we could talk about, it's like, what do we just say the bits? You know what I mean? But really, it's
It holds up super well.
It's the cast, that does do it. Like it's everybody.
cast is
The
great.
villains, the aliens, like they all carry it.
And I think it's talk about the script. I think it's a really well written script. The structure of it could be taught in like filmmaking classes of like how to write a script, where you have like the inciting incident, the rising action, all that stuff. Like it's perfectly structured script.
Yeah. Even just the scenes to introduce the characters, it's really efficient in doing that by showing the intro to the show, and then out walks on stage. We're at a convention, and then you see them in the present day versus the past. Okay, this is where they started, where they are now in their life. Like it's
And you get all
really
the
efficient.
information you need with Tim Allen. He's drunk the next morning. He's like hungover. It's just giving you the right amount of information. He's like, I need a limo. Takes him up. He doesn't know what's going on. It's just great.
I've wanted to live in his house since I was a kid. But it could be, the writing could be sloppy to one-to-ones. It could literally just be, there's a doctor like Bones. He's the old person in the crew. He's going to be like DeForest Kelly. Blah, blah. No. Instead, we get like, Tony Shalhoub's like the stoner. It's like, he's like the goofy stoner. And when he has to do like gaudy type stuff, the drama and comedy is really going to come more from like, this is the guy you would trust to like use like a transport ray on you to like beam you back up into the ship. No, you wouldn't trust anyone with that.
Tony Shalhoub is great in this movie too. And you're right, he is the stoner, but they couldn't be super blatant about it because they had to keep their PG rating. So they just made him act like a stoner, but they never referenced like he's like on drugs or anything, but he's just always eating in every scene. And he just seems really spaced out all the time.
Did I read this? Was this in the original screenplay, or is this still in the film that they intended him also to be a Scientologist?
Yeah, it could be. I'm not sure.
Oh, wow.
I know he's playing like an Asian character, and Tony Shalhoub, when he was cast, he's like, I don't want to play an Asian character as a non-Asian, but I'll play a guy playing an Asian character in the show. So that's
as a non-Asian, yes.
Yeah.
Right.
That's great logic.
Yeah.
The way he delivers like lines and stuff too, because he's so spaced out, but like he doesn't know how to be an engineer. So he's just, everybody goes to where their jobs are, but he'll just get on thing. Hey, they think that we could reverse the polarity and do the thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know what they're saying.
Yeah, the guys are saying it's like real messed up down here. He says that at one point. He's like,
He's never like, I have an idea. It's like the guys think that this could work.
It's so
But then
good.
he's like,
That's a great trait.
He's into the teamwork of it, where he's like, oh, good job, guys. Come on.
Hey,
group hug,
everybody, come around.
Yeah.
He loves his boys. He does.
Yeah.
And when they get beamed up to the ship too, everyone's like super freaked out, and he's just like, That was a
Cool.
hell of a thing. Like
Yeah,
he
hell of a
just
thing.
loved it.
Yeah. It's
Come on,
great.
let me show you the ship. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody's really, really good. So yeah, Tony Shalhoub, very fun. Sigourney Weaver
great
again,
Scotty
super
Steele.
charming, great.
She's a great Nichelle Nichols stand. It's incredible. Here's the thing. I don't love when I just watched Cabin in the Woods. We were talking about it for Spooktober.
Hmm.
Spoiler alert for that film if you haven't seen it, where she shows up at the end as a like, we got you. It's the movie Paul with that alien. Do you remember? We got you. It's Sigourney. It's a joke because she was in sci-fi stuff.
Right.
That's not enough. When Galaxy Quest goes, no. We're like making the choices of like, this is what her career could have been, is like what we're commenting on. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Is such a higher choice. And again, allowing her to have like a meaty performance, meaty character, and not just a dumb cameo. Sigourney Weaver's great. She give her a fucking full co-lead role. Have her do the dangerous stunts and kiss Tim Allen at the end. And now as an adult, I'm like,
Give her a
don't
bonus.
kiss Tim Allen. But as a kid, I was like, this is great.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
She,
Alien, Ghostbusters, now
She's a genre
Avatar.
legend.
Yeah.
she is.
Now
and-
Avatar. Now teenage girl in Avatar.
But what the movie's doing is, again, it is showing like what a career trajectory could have been, where like TV producers are like, oh, we need to sexy up 7 of 9 to get ratings, and you know that's what her character is reduced to on the page of the fake show. But she's allowed to like, you know, do more in this, playing the actor in this thing, you know, and it's
Right.
it's really well done. And she's great, you know.
Yeah.
I
I
have
didn't
one
think
job to
about
do on
that.
this ship. It's stupid, but I'm going to do it.
I will be doing it.
Okay.
I have
Yeah.
not seen Voyager, so I'm not familiar with Jerry Ryan's character, 7 of 9. Would you guys say, is she literally like the most popular character in Star Trek just due to the sex appeal?
She's up there because she, not just because of the sex appeal, but because she was probably the most interesting character on Voyager. Like when she
Wow.
came on,
Well,
she
that's lucky.
became
She
like the
legit has
central
good
character.
stuff.
Yeah.
She's
she's-
not on from the beginning. She is a
No,
write-in.
she came in season 4 as a way to boost ratings.
Before she comes in?
Yeah, but once
Yeah.
she comes in, it becomes a very Borg-centric show, and there's a lot of storylines between her and it basically became her and the Captain Janeway show, which there was also caused tensions with the cast where
Kate Mulgrew is not going to like
Kate
that.
Mulgrew was like, "Wait, I thought I was like the main character." So there was some tensions there, but
Well,
they
it was
actually
for 4
worked really well
seasons.
together.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Interesting.
There's a little bit of like, this has gone on since, you know, obviously we've seen the outfits in this original series, but the TNG, I think in the second season, even for like Counselor Troy, you know, she had
Yeah.
no cleavage in season 1. And season 2, they're like, hey, let's get a V cut in this uniform.
Yeah,
So-
that's an
Interesting.
unfortunate byproduct of the Rick Berman era, especially. Like Rick Berman is a producer through that whole era, and notoriously had a lot of specifically actresses on set had a lot of issues with him. So that's kind
He's
of the
why
dark side of-
Jadzia leaves, right?
He's why Jadzia leaves DS9.
Terry Farrell.
Hellraiser.
Yeah, and you know, Troy, that actress did not get along with him very well. Like he's just, you know, from a different, more misogynistic era of, you know, Hollywood and that kind of thing. So
And that's what the
Not
character
bad.
is
Listeners,
commenting
I
on in the
was-
movie, you know.
No.
Like,
absolutely,
And listeners,
yeah.
I was laughing because Mike said Hellraiser, by the way, not at the sexism stuff.
no,
James.
yeah.
no,
Because Terry
Rick
Farrell
Berman,
wasn't Hellraiser.
we hate Rick
Yes.
Berman. Okay,
We
he's a
hate
bad
Rick
guy.
Yeah, but so you get this character in Sigourney Weaver that's like, this is what skeezy producers would, like even the other actors, like Tim Allen's like, she didn't have to do much. She just had to make sure her hair looked good. And like all this dismissive shit
Right.
that came out of that Hollywood environment of
Well,
the
when she
time.
mentions the like, oh, I get a, you know, article and it's like 6 paragraphs about how my boobs fit in my shirt. That's like a straight up reference to 7 of 9 in
Wow.
media, like how media was portraying her, like in articles and stuff.
Yeah, so it's a very clever script, getting back on plot, you know, and like the way all these characters are set up, like, you know, let's go to Alan Rickman, you know, rest in peace, Dr. Lazarus.
R.I.P.,
He's our Leonard Nimoy, our Spock, right? He has
Yeah.
friction with Tim Allen because he wants to be a little bit more serious, but Tim Allen thinks it's all about him. But weirdly, he's like
You-
the fan favorite character, just like Spock, you know?
And he has this
Do
famous
we-
line that he says that he hates saying now, right?
Yes.
By Grabthar's hammer, and it sort of kind of has a hand gesture, of course, kind of akin again to the Vulcan salute.
It's just like
Now-
a high five
It
like-
really is.
And even his saying is kind of like, I have been and always
Live long,
shall
prosper.
be your friend.
Those
Or that
things,
too,
yeah.
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 Mhm.
Jacob, is there anything in the material about the making of that talks about, was it his idea to keep the prosthetic on the entire time? Because that adds a comedy level to me of like this guy who's like, I hate this thing.
Right.
I don't like doing this thing. I also get paid to do this thing, and it's very hard and intricate, so I keep it on so I don't waste any time, and then I get out of there.
Yeah. I don't know if his idea specifically, but I know it was like a purposeful idea to have him wear it the whole movie. Even when, even in the beginning, when they go home from the con and he's at home, he's still wearing
He's
it.
still wearing it on the
Yeah.
phone. It's so funny.
And basically
Yeah.
the director said he wanted it to be good enough that, it has to look realistic enough that the aliens would believe it, but also kind of cheesy enough that it looks like he could apply it himself, essentially. So it kind of straddles that line.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's like a swimmer's cap that he could blend the line maybe.
Yes.
But
Yes.
yeah, I like that they get abducted or they go with the aliens from the con, so they're all in uniform, right? It's all diegetic, like within the world. And for
Yeah.
him to go from hating the line to developing like a bond with these aliens, and then
Yes.
Right.
delivering it with the utmost sincerity, like what
Yeah.
a
But
what an
but
arc.
that is the I'm not Spock, I am Spock, right? It's the two book
100%.
line. It is the person who has the self-hatred because of a character that they've created that they believe pinholds them creatively,
Mhm.
when really what they're not seeing is the effect that it has on the fans. And his story is,
Yes.
of course, rallying these sort of like engineers or whatever they are, helpers or whatever around him, or security personnel. I'm not even positive who he's sort of dealing with.
Yeah,
at the
I
end of
just
the movie.
they were just trying to get the oxygen turned on. I guess they're
Yes.
engineers or whatever. But yeah,
Yes.
gains has a relationship with what was essentially a super fan and realizes the impact that he's had on them.
Yes.
And leans
Yeah.
into the myth.
It's
for them.
it's like it is one of those things that none of us is truly ever going to be able to understand, like literally at all, the weight of doing something like that and having that effect on somebody. But like but it's also just so interesting to see the two sides of. It's totally fair that Leonard Nimoy had that dichotomy, that inner battle of who am I, and he found the avenue and the answer to that. God bless him. But then you have someone like James Doohan, Scotty, and it comes out all the time where it's like sick kids would call and he would talk to them on the phone for hours and just
Oh,
pretend
sure.
to be Scotty, and he loved it. And he loved that everybody, anyone who got into engineering because of it or whatever. And truly, I'm not shaming. There's no difference to either. But to see Alan Rickman embody that choice at the end, because what he is essentially dealing with is a dying fan, to
Right.
put his arms around him and say, like, I'm going to give you the whole thing right now. By Grabthar's hammer. I've never been more into this line. Here it is. Again,
And it's set up how much he
fucking
hates saying the
powerful.
line. Yeah.
Yes.
And he
And I
means
think,
it because he's going to avenge him.
Yes.
He has the intent to avenge. He's like
He
saying it
literally
with the
is
most sincerity.
believing what he says. You're
Mhm.
right, Mike. Ugh.
It's incredible.
And I think he's, obviously Spock is Nimoy is the main reference, but I think there's a lot of, it's kind of a lot of Star Trek actors. Once they've done Star Trek, they get typecast, and not just Star Trek, any genre stuff. If you do genre stuff as an actor, you can very easily get typecast, and it's hard to get these serious dramatic roles. Someone like Patrick Stewart, a serious Shakespearean actor, he kind of was able to break out of that, but a lot of the TNG actors, they didn't
Yeah.
do much aside from
Yeah, Jacob, Kevin Sorbo, if he wanted to do one of these libtard movies about, being trans or whatever, he said all this stuff on Twitter. That's why I'm
Right,
saying that.
Right.
If I wanted to
Yeah.
do one of those movies. Yeah.
Disappointed.
But I think, and I don't know if this was a intentional reference either, but Alec Guinness, Sir Alec Guinness, Obi-Wan Kenobi,
Hello there.
notoriously didn't get Star Wars, didn't understand why it was so popular. He's like, I was in a bunch of like serious movies back in the day, like Bridge over River Kwai and all this stuff. But basically after Star Wars, people all recognized him for Star Wars, right?
Right.
So it can happen very easily.
Yes.
And I guess there's a version of that Doohan-esque actor who really embraced it with Weber, the pilot who was the kid, Laredo, right? It's
Yeah.
like he liked the show growing up, and Jacob sent us a link to a fake documentary as if
Yes.
Galaxy Quest was a real show, and he talks about in character that, oh yeah, I go to the conventions and we do all this stuff for charity, and like he loves the fans, like he's in on it, and more like
Amazing.
a Doohan-esque person.
That was a
leave
great
that
find,
universe.
Jacob. I assume that's on the DVD or something, but if people
Yeah,
listening
that was like a
haven't found that,
promotional
genius.
thing they did that aired on the E Network. It's a half-hour mockumentary about the show that's all, obviously fake, but they got all Tim Allen and everyone to do interviews
Wow.
as their characters and stuff. It's pretty
Yeah,
funny.
and like
Now,
bringing
Mike,
the show back.
Laredo, I was kind of saying off Mike, I'll save this, but now on pod to say his actor unfortunately paralyzed now, was in a
Yeah.
tragic
No.
car accident. So
He was in an
now
accident,
confined
like,
to a wheelchair.
2 years after this
Oh,
movie
that's
came out,
tragic.
and was paralyzed from the waist down.
Still acting.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
But
He's the only one. He
unfortunate
was
accident.
good in this movie, but he's the only one that's not like a huge name today. But it could have been,
TV star. Yeah.
yeah, it could have been someone else possibly. But he did good.
Yeah, and again, if that he doesn't suffer that accident, who knows too? Like how
Yeah.
much does that obviously affect the roles you can go up for, etc. But his character is again a good reflection of somebody who gets the fans, and he's like, he knows like the Tim Allen's an asshole. He's like, we just got to do it for them. Like he's kind of the one initially saying,
And he's
that.
Right.
but Mike, he's the kid. He
Yeah.
is the one who was a child when they were all acting up, and he is the one who gives them these talks
That's
about like
really is
we need to
Wesley.
be level-headed. Yeah, he's empathetic.
He's the Wesley, yeah, and he's the
Yes.
Because
what's
who's the
that
biggest
guy's
Star
name
Trek
today?
nerd?
Will Wheaton.
Yeah,
he does
Will
all that Star
Wheaton.
Trek stuff. Yeah,
And I think he keeps the groups
There's a
together.
world where
and is the
Laredo's
peacekeeper.
doing Paramount Plus, behind the
Oh,
scenes.
fuck
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's
Are
a
you
funny
kidding?
a funny age thing with him though, because he was a kid when the show was on in '82. But Sam Rockwell's character was an adult on the show, but Daryl Mitchell is actually 3 years older than Sam Rockwell in the movie.
Hmm.
Is that true?
Wow.
But
I also didn't think Sam Rockwell.
That's
It's not like
Karate
they
Kid
give
it.
him more of a wig or anything. It's like he looks exactly the same in the
Yeah.
old ones, doesn't he? Oh,
yeah, I mean, how old was he when they made that movie? Like in his
Yeah.
mid 20s or early 30s or something. I don't
Yeah.
know, but
Yeah.
That's great.
Chat a little Rockwell again real quick because he's
Let's
funny
chat a
as
little
hell too.
Rockwell.
Yeah, he's a red shirt, right? And then his whole thing is what he's not prepared for adventure. He's freaking out the most, and anytime something's happening, he's like, "I don't even have a last name. I'm gonna die." Like he's so scared that he's not gonna make it.
yeah. He's got some great lines. He said he based his character on famous cowards of cinema like Bill Paxton in Aliens.
That
Nice.
and that's the big one to
Hey.
me.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But he wanted to do, he wanted to give, kind of redeem that archetype by becoming less of a coward by the end of it, right?
Oh
Yeah, yeah. Can you create a weapon of some? Maybe create a rudimentary lathe? Like, what are you talking about?
And again,
I-
like Mike,
Yeah.
when I'm seeing this, I've only ever seen the Gorn episode. So like a guy on a planet who has to make a thing and fight somebody, like I feel like this thing's talking to me, and I don't even like Star Trek that much. And then you got to think about everybody else watching it. I can't.
no, there's so
I'm
many
pretty
layers
sure-
here.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Jacob.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure there was some improv going on too. A lot of these funny lines were sort of ad-libbed on the day, and they just kind of rolled with it.
Let's
as
get
well.
out of here before one of those things kills Guy.
Yeah.
Like, that's got to
Yeah.
be an ad lib
That's
from
gotta
Sigourney.
be.
But what's cool is like I think even this might be influencing Star Trek because I think that Kirk's brother or whatever on Strange New Worlds, he's exactly like Guy. Like he's got
He
the
has some
mustache
Redshirt
and he's
energy
real
we've talked
cocky,
about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it
And
feels
I
like
thought
him.
he was going to be killed at some point in that season.
Yep.
He does eventually die, in
Yeah,
canon, so
I know.
who knows?
Yeah, when I realized that, yeah. But yeah, Sigourney, like that Chomper scene, that's the moment that really stands out for me when she's just like, "Who wrote this episode?
Right,
Why
is it
are
in the
things
hallway?
here?
Why
What's
are these
purpose
things
does it
here?
serve?"
What is the purpose of this? That is the
Mhm.
the scene of the movie. I agree with you, Jacob. 100%.
Yeah,
It's a very badly dubbed over. Basically, when she goes in, she says, "Well, fuck this," but they dub it over with, "Well, screw this," to keep their PG
Oh,
rating.
because it's PG-13.
That's
But if you
so
go, if you
good.
watch it,
Ah.
it's she's dropping an F bomb.
That's
That's
funny.
which
great.
would have been so much funnier. But
Oh, absolutely.
you get one in a PG-13, but they were doing a family marketing campaign, but that would have been great.
yeah,
Can I mention a couple things from this documentary that are really charming?
Yeah.
Colin, you didn't watch it, right? But Jacob, you did.
I did. Oh, I loved it.
Oh yeah,
I
No,
watched
so
it,
for the
yeah.
for the listeners, yeah, it's like it's so great because they're like, oh, what was the origin? Like, oh, it's originally called West Quest.
Right. It was going to be a Western.
But then they said
West
Westerns
Quest.
are dead. So then we were going to do a Navy show.
Put it in
And
space.
It's
called Navy Quest.
And
But
then
the
Galaxy
the
Quest.
the wagon in space was the model, right?
Wagon train to the
Right.
stars.
Make the original Star Trek. God, guys, there's so much here.
Yeah, that documentary is really, really cool. I would recommend checking out if you like this movie because it does like play on the actual origin of Star Trek being a Western, and the art department being like, we just had different rocks and we would just be painting them different colors the whole show. We would just move them over here and paint them a different color. Sometimes a red carpet with a blue rock, sometimes a green carpet with a brown rock.
What that doc needed was a sex pervert who had created the show. They should have done a full-on parody.
Just gone with
I like when they were
Hunger.
talking about Sigourney Weaver's character. Like, well, she had this role where she could have this one line in a Woody Allen film. Did she make the right choice? I mean, who knew Annie Hall was going to be such a hit? It's like very funny.
Who knows where my career could have gone? Yeah. But
So what if it was one line?
Yeah. But it's cool. They talk about the low budget of the experience making the show, and like, oh yeah, they're like spray painting something on the other side of the set wall. We all got a headache from the fumes. It's like, it's all just minor bits, but I like the attention to detail of like, going full in on the bit of this being a show that could have existed.
How many books have been made that are, I was a set deck person on TNG episode 30 to 65. Here's what I saw every day. And people eat it up.
Yep. And they even say in the thing, the reason we could make a space show is because they had leftover sets from a space movie. So it's like, we'll just inherit this. It wasn't even in the budget. It's like, that's a very studio thing. Like they reuse bridges all the time in the Star Trek movies. They'll just like redress.
Right. Which is so funny when you think about the biggest fans of the show are like obsessed with canon down to the smallest detail, when really the way these shows were being made, it's like they're just kind of they're just having like using props as different things, like a phaser would be something else in the next episode. They would just repaint it or something. It's like they weren't thinking about canon when they shot these. They just,
Shatner accidentally said Orion instead of Orion. Well, I guess they're two separate places now. It's like, well, all right.
Yeah, for sure. Leading into that, even the Omega 13 device, like the way it works, it dials back 13 seconds so you can fix one mistake, as Tim Allen puts it.
Here is the question I have wondered every day of my life since I have seen this movie.
Okay.
Would you guys press the device?
Depends on when, right?
Well, you got that
I would
twist
say
ending
same
of
circumstances. Even if, but Jacob, imagine someone had just shot you and you're like, ugh, and they say, hey, that button to the side of you, it's either a nuclear device that destroys the entire world, or it'll make it so you didn't just get shot. Would you press the button if the odds were 50-50 on
William
that?
Shatner would have.
I don't know that
the
I would
needs of the
blow
many
up the
outweigh the needs of the
world.
few or one.
The needs of me, Mike.
Yeah, that's Shatner. Tim Allen would have pressed it. 100% believable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get that great ending when, well, first of all, the climactic scene where they are dragging all the mines. I'm dragging these mines. That reminds me of Wrath of Khan, where he's outwitting Saris, basically, just like Kirk outwits Khan in the end. He knew they didn't have the firepower or whatever to fight Saris, but he's using his
the magnets were messing with their sensors and stuff. So like very much Wrath of Khan, and even the ending with going back and fixing the thing. Like there's an episode of TNG where like the ship keeps exploding and exploding and exploding, and they have to figure out the one way. Yeah, so that's kind of
that's a Legends of Tomorrow trope. Interesting.
Oh, no kidding.
There's time loops.
There was probably a sci-fi freaking zine in 1942 that did it, and everybody's been ripping it off ever since.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a really well structured screenplay. I think you could teach it in classes. You could use it as an example.
Absolutely. I think there's a strong case to be made that it's the best Star Trek movie. Go ahead.
Absolutely. The only issue I have with this film is that the television show reboot at the end isn't a real TV show. Every time I watch this, I go like, yeah, great. Like, let's roll straight into that. This is what I want to see.
Well, they absolutely should have made a sequel. And if it made a little bit more money, I think they would have. Unfortunately, like I said, they mismarketed it. It wasn't quite the hit they wanted it to be. But it's become a cult hit, and like I said, sequel talk has been happening for 20 years. Unfortunately, like I said, Rickman, R.I.P. We love you, but we could still get a sequel, right?
I
What
hope
do you guys
so.
think?
Jacob, in the show, what is Missy Pyle's fake name that they give her alien character? Is it Jane Doe or Jane
Oh,
Smith?
yeah, Jane Doe.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
So
it. In
what
the
is
credits.
Guy's last name? Do we remember? Mike, do you remember?
Guy
'Cause
Fleegman.
It's Fleegman.
Fleegman. There we go.
What's my last name? Your
You
Guy.
know,
We all
you
know
know,
you.
you
We
know.
all know you, Guy.
Yeah.
You
And the
know,
fact that
you
his
say
name is Guy, like that's the most like,
Of course.
oh, that's just some guy over there. His
Yeah,
name's
it's just
Guy.
Guy.
Yeah.
great.
Did you know that was my name, or are you just saying that?
Right?
It's great.
No, this lays the groundwork for later comedians who are obsessed with Star Trek. Like the Orville. Seth MacFarlane. Like he's basically just did Galaxy Quest.
Yeah.
Now, Mike, you just brought up something great. If in a future Orville episode they meet the whatever the squid people are called, I would accept that. I would accept that
Oh,
canon
yeah.
crossing
Thermians?
over. The
What,
Thermians,
what was he saying wrong? What was he calling them, termites or something?
Oh yeah, they're like
Termites.
termites.
Tim Allen
Yeah.
couldn't remember. Thermians, yeah. That would be
Hilarious.
incredible if he confirms that Thermians exist.
Please.
And they talk about historic documents. Speaking of historic documents, I don't know if we have anything else really to say on this, but I know there's a Galaxy quiz on
That's
the
right.
horizon if you want to catch us right after this.
We're back on Normies Like Us talking Galaxy Quest, our special non-Star Trek episode that, in our opinion, is a Star Trek episode. And
That's right.
like all Star Trek episodes, we usually do a little Wrath of Cobb, but like Mike said, we're going on a Galaxy quiz this time.
That's right. Justin Long
That's
would
right.
smoke us in this quiz.
He loves this show.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's quiz it up, guys.
What's the format of this quiz?
Yeah,
The
normal
same, true,
style,
false?
sort of the
True, false. I'll read a trivia or a question, and then you guys will guess true or false, and we'll just do it the way we normally do.
Mike and I are
Okay.
facing off now. Listeners will kind of do some auditory cues, but of course you can always watch the podcast on YouTube at Normies_like_us, where you can just see us sort of fiddle with our hands to get the answers a little quicker.
Mhm.
And play along if you like.
Yes.
See if you do better than these guys. But all right, first question. So this is pretty interesting.
I'll have it be known I did win the spooky quiz.
Oh
That's right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I'm not
two
sure
for
what your
true,
all-time
one for
record
false,
is.
right?
Sure.
I think
Short.
Mike pretty high up there on the wins, right?
I
don't
haven't
know
won
the
a ton,
exact.
honestly. I think. Well,
You
listeners
guys are
let us
both
know the
winners in
records.
my eyes.
But 2 for
Yeah,
true, 1
thank
for
you.
false. Yes.
2 for true, 1 for false.
So Steven Spielberg, maybe you've heard of him. He came to set one day as a producer, or obviously this was DreamWorks, so Spielberg's kind of in charge of that. But he came to set for one day. He liked Missy Pyle's female alien character so much, and he said you should expand her role and give her a romance subplot with Tony Shalhoub.
Oh.
So he recommended that. Is that true or false?
Oh man.
Locked in. Okay.
Yeah, I'll
Lock
be
it in?
locked in.
All right, let's
Right.
see it.
I'm hoping so. Let's say true.
True. It is
It's just
true.
so weird. Okay.
Oh.
So he came to set one day, recommended that change, and improved the movie, right?
Hey, guess what?
Yes.
And that's why this guy's a genius.
Yeah. And I'm not even like a huge Spielberg fan, but obviously he's a super talented director, and he can just come and make one little change and improve the movie. Right?
Now, Jacob,
Yeah.
that's how The Fabelmans ends, is him coming to the set of Galaxy Quest and making that change. Interesting.
Yeah.
Ah, yeah, the
That's the last
culmination of his
scene.
work. Yeah.
The of course the scene where her and Tony Shalhoub kind of make out at the end, and then they, it gets maybe graphic for a
It's
PG movie.
incredible.
And then Sam Rockwell's like, "Ooh, that's not right." I guess
Oh,
that
yeah.
was an ad lib as well, so he improv
Ah!
that on the day.
God.
Nice.
I might watch this again after us doing this episode just with a fuller appreciation.
Yeah, you have to watch when Sigourney Weaver says "screw that." You can see your mouth.
Fuck that.
That's great.
That's incredible.
All right, next question.
Tied
Okay.
up.
So
Mhm.
Mathazar actor Enrico Colantoni He basically created the way that the Thermians spoke and acted. Is that true or false?
I'm locked in.
Locked in.
Lock it in. All right. Reveal.
Okay, I'm gonna say true.
That's true in this as well.
That is true. That is true.
All
So
right.
he did that in his audition, and they were immediately like, "You fucking nailed it." And they showed his audition to the other actors that were cast as aliens and said, "Just do this. Like, this is how all you're gonna act." Like, he came up with that himself, and
Pete,
Never give up.
they loved it.
Never turned up.
Speaking of Sigourney Weaver, you guys know in Ghostbusters 2 the character of like Jigo or like the sort of art guy who hits on her, played by Peter McNichol. Do you guys remember that character?
Yeah,
Who's
yeah.
like, I take care of the paint thing, and he does
In what?
in
Ghostbusters
Ghostbusters 2. Peter McNichol, he's sort of the comedy character who's like, oh, I'm a foreign guy. Again, he's a totally normal white, middle-aged guy. When he did that performance, Jacob, at the audition, he just decided to be a foreign guy, and they were like, oh, okay, we'll bring you back for another read. And then they also had real foreign guys audition. So if I was Enrico too, like if I do that thing and people are like, that's great, I'd be like, yeah, it is. It's also my thing.
I'm also yeah, go ahead.
No, Tim Allen says in the fake documentary that he went to the wrong audition room, and when he got the role for Galaxy Quest, he didn't know that it wasn't like a different project for the first couple episodes. So it's like doing something weird in the audition, because he says he was reading lines from his other project and he got the job. So I don't know.
It's true. It's staying true.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I'm thinking about it, I really should have done the intro in the alien voice. I think that would be super funny.
Oh yeah.
So maybe I should do another take on that after this. But
listeners, if it changed, know that we did that.
Yeah.
That might be better than my Alan Rickman.
If it's a 1-for-1 Alan Rickman.
Oh well, that's what it was. Now that we just revealed, it was also Alan Rickman.
Yes. All right.
Yeah. So it's tune in to see which one it is.
Right.
Obviously, that'll come before this. So, but anyways,
you'll know what happened.
Next question. Yeah. So, okay, one of these questions I already ruined, which was that Harold Ramis left the project after Tim Allen was cast. That's okay. We'll skip that one. Sigourney Weaver was cast because they wanted a famous sci-fi, someone that's famous for doing sci-fi projects in the movie. So she was cast based on that. Is that true or false?
I'm locked in.
Yeah, I'm locked in.
Lock it in. Lock it in. Let's see it.
I'm wondering if these are all going to be true. Wow,
I'm doing false because I think it's too obvious.
It is false.
You're wrong.
They actually initially didn't want Sigourney Weaver because they didn't want any actors that are known for being in sci-fi. So
wow,
yeah, I kind of flipped the script on you there.
Yeah, I was criticizing that easy choice, and here they are literally going against it. So I love that. That's cool.
I thought it was a Harold Ramis thing.
Yeah,
there's probably a connection there too, where he's like, "Hey, she was great in Ghostbusters."
She's like, "Oh, I'm going to work with Harold again. He's so great." And then Tim Allen, and then Harold quits, and Sigourney's like, "What?
What have I done?"
Now? That also happened too. Yeah,
what have I done?
But yeah, they wanted actors that weren't really known for sci-fi, and actually, Tim Allen, he wanted to do it because he apparently loves sci-fi, and he's like, "Look, people don't know this. I can do sci-fi. I can fucking do sci-fi." And the other movie that he wanted to do, that he was considering over this, it was either going to be this or it was going to be Bicentennial Man, which eventually went to Robin Williams.
The lead? He was going to be the robot?
Yeah.
No, that's got to be Robin Williams.
Robin Williams would have been good in this. That's interesting.
Yeah. But so he did this and he said like, yeah, I'll start with this like sci-fi comedy since I'm known for comedy, and then I'll kind of transition into serious sci-fi projects. Didn't really work out that much, but
what are you saying?
Apparently, this was going to be the second phase of his career. He's going to do sci-fi movies.
Wow, and you wow, and Tim Allen. So you're bringing the script to the table. You want to move forward with? You want to play the character Riddick? Yeah, this is the one. This is. Can you just imagine like what sci-fi properties of the 2000s would he have gotten his hands on?
Yeah, I don't know.
He could have been Harrison Ford's character in whatever the one is where they make kids fight in war.
Oh, Ender's Game?
Ender's
Game. Yeah, that one.
He would have been very good at that, Mike.
Yeah,
it's interesting that he was up for Bicentennial Man because Robin Williams, also famously known for comedy before kind of transitioning into some more serious roles.
Before playing a serious robot.
Serious robot.
Well, he did that 1 hour photo. I think he's good in that
movie. Yeah, that's a great movie. Do you guys remember?
He knows what
Bicentennial
Evangelion
Man?
is. I do
I have
remember
not
that.
seen Bicentennial Man in a long time, but I kind of remember it.
And it's been a long time.
A lot of makeup that he had to endure for that.
Right.
Yeah. But
Last time I saw that, I might have picked it up from Blockbuster. Let me just put that down there.
we've
Wow.
talked about Blockbuster and looking up movies in the newspaper today. It's I don't like
I know,
it.
right? I was just thinking about like, yeah, I didn't use the internet to see what was playing. I just looked in the
No.
daily newspaper.
You call Movie Phone, he would say, "Galaxy Quest, Jacob, happy birthday."
Yeah.
So thanks,
oh,
Mr. Movie
man.
Phone.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Next question. What's the score right now? I think Mike's ahead.
3-2.
Mike is now
2.
ahead, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's see what we got here. Okay.
Show
So the
me what
scene
you
with
got.
Tim Allen in the beginning at the con when he goes in the bathroom and he overhears the fans talking about him. That was based on a real life incident with William Shatner. True or false?
Oh, I'm locked in.
Yep.
I've never been more locked in.
Let's see it.
2
Let's see
for
it.
true. It's
True,
gotta
baby.
be.
2 for true,
That
baby.
is true.
Oh,
That
man.
apparently happened to him at a 1996 convention where he went in the bathroom and just overheard people shit talking him basically and saying,
I
like,
hope he
"Oh, what an
cried."
asshole."
Man.
Yeah. So
Man.
He probably was in that bathroom to do drugs. We should say that. He probably
Yeah,
went
it's
to the
possible.
stall to do cocaine.
He's washed up. What?
Yeah. What? Who are they talking about? Are they talking about Takai?
I always
talking
knew
about
he
you.
wasn't good in the show. No. you suck. Anyway.
yeah. Let's see. It was the film debut of Justin Long and Rainn Wilson. We covered that. Here's a good one. The original script, or it was going to be called, the original title, Galaxy Quest: the Motion Picture. Obviously a reference to Star Trek: The Motion Picture. Is that
Okay.
true or false?
I'm locked in.
I'm locked in.
Lock it in. Let's see it.
I'm going false because I love that too much.
I'm going
It
true.
is true. It is true. It's great. And obviously the scene when they pull out of the space dock is heavily referencing the motion picture, and he scrapes the side of the thing.
Mhm.
Hilarious. Yeah.
Oh man, I was hoping there would be a
Mike!
line. Oh, I'm doing good here. Yeah.
So it was
Forward
going to
to
be
the killer.
called. Yeah, it was going to be called the motion picture. They wanted to try to avoid. They didn't want to get sued, basically. So they tried to avoid any reference to Star Trek.
There's
at
a
all.
lot of hubris to call it Galaxy Quest: the Motion Picture. I think like 5% less people go if you call it that. I think Galaxy Quest was the better idea. But if
Yeah,
on a
probably,
DVD,
yeah.
if I could buy it called Galaxy Quest: The Motion Picture, I would be loving that right
Yeah.
now.
Package that with that documentary, man. It's such a better in universe. It's better, but for the marketing, I think you're right. Galaxy
Right.
Quest.
Like I said, yeah, they wanted to avoid any connection to Star Trek, so they didn't get sued. They never say beam in the movie, like beam me up or anything. They've been very sure to like avoid using real Star Trek terms. Even the captain is actually called commander instead of captain, which is odd, but
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
just
That's,
kind of a rank below captain
Medal to the
in
medal,
Star
Well,
Trek.
that's what they're called in Vulcan Navy. Commander, sub-commander.
Sub-commander, sub-commander.
I
Paul.
don't know.
Nerd stuff. But cool.
Yeah. So let's see. Do I have any more questions? Oh, I do. Okay.
All right. I
So-
am up by 2.
I was gonna say, is there a chance for me to come back here?
I
Is he
have I
red-shirted?
think 2 more questions.
Oh,
So,
maybe
okay.
tie it
Did you
up.
get them both right? Yeah. So the original script, after the script, not the Captain Starshine, which is the original spec script, but the first draft of Gordon's script, who's the guy
The
that
good
did it,
idea.
yeah, was actually R-rated. It was much darker, but they changed it to PG-13 and then to PG. Is that true or false?
I'm locked in.
Yeah, I'm locked in.
Lock it in. All right, reveal.
True.
I went with true too.
True. That is false.
Ah.
I tricked you guys a little bit because it was. So there's been rumored that there was an alternate version of the script that's R-rated. It's not really true though, but it was originally PG-13 and then changed to PG, and it was a little bit darker. Like I said, they had the F-bomb.
Oh,
What?
Well, we end up with it's PG. It's not even PG-13.
It is PG. That's why they took out because you get one F-bomb in a
Yeah.
PG-13.
Okay,
right?
that
They took
explains
that out.
Mike and I were on that same wavelength of why don't they just
Why
do
did
the
they
one
do it?
fuck? But okay,
Yeah, so they took that out for the PG because they wanted to make it family friendly. There's also some like sexual stuff, like so Sigourney Weaver at the end, her shirt is just like open for no reason. That's because there was like a scene where she tries to seduce some aliens apparently that got cut.
what?
And then apparently there was a scene in the first draft when they land the ship at the end at the convention. They just like decapitate a bunch of fans.
Oh no,
And
you can't
so
do
they
that.
cut that. Yeah,
Oh,
like the fans that are like shooting the
that's-
fireworks at the end, like they're just gonna have
Again,
like kill a bunch of fans.
No, no.
Yeah,
Who do you think we are to thank for how it ended up? Because Dean Parisot doesn't feel like he's the one who's like, no, this is kind of how it has to end, and this is the final shape, and what you got, that's my Galaxy Quest. It kind of even feels like the studio was like, let me save this thing.
well, it's definitely like they're like, we want to make it more marketable and more family friendly, so they had to cut down from PG-13 to PG.
Yeah.
I think it still would have been good as a PG-13. R-rated would have been stretching
But
it a little
just the
bit.
decapitation and stuff, like, but all that is
wouldn't
making
have
me
worked,
think,
yeah.
like, you don't know what you had here. Yeah.
Yeah,
That goes
like that
away
kind of ruins the whole
from
tone of the movie.
The
Yeah.
whole point of kind of embrace the people who you've affected with your performance, even if you're not the character. We embrace the fans, right? And to kill them in the spaceship is completely the
Oh my
antithesis of
Wildly
that
God.
message.
out of character. Yeah,
Justin Long's homies. That's terrible, dude.
Yeah.
yeah. That's more
That's,
kind of like almost like a Mel Brooks type of like just super zany thing to happen for no
To
reason.
just,
kind of.
it is
Mhm.
funny and clever to go like, that's the real thing that would have. But yeah, again, that is more Mel Brooks to be like, wah, 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 wah.
Yeah.
Now that's
Like-
not another Trek movie. Like that's
Yes.
that level of
That's, yes, that's true, Mike. That's
No.
funny.
like. Anyway,
Not
one more
another
question
Yeah, one more question here.
in the parallel 2006 dimension. We had not another Trek movie.
Right.
Yeah.
So okay, last question. While they were filming, well, first of all, I have some stories about Tim Allen on set, but one thing is that he had this apparently he had this piece of the Nostromo from the Alien that he like bought online or something, and he was like bugging Sigourney Weaver to sign it like the whole time they were shooting. He's like, sign this. She's like, I'll sign it. Eventually she did sign it, and she wrote stolen by Tim Allen, loves Sigourney Weaver. And apparently that like really upset him. He's like, why would you write that? I was gonna hang this like in my screening room. And she's like, that's like such a Hollywood thing to say. So like
Right.
apparently some weird kind of tension between them on set, I would say.
Hey,
But is that true or false?
Oh. Is that the question?
True. I don't know.
I'm saying true. If that's the
Yeah,
case, I don't even
true.
need to. Yeah.
It is true.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't know how to kind of phrase that as a true or
It felt
false.
very
But
true.
it's just
Now-
a very
Here's a
interesting
very
trivia.
specific story.
Here's the thing. Like, okay, so that's even the sci-fi that he liked. I didn't even think he liked modern, but to like Alien and the real good stuff. Tim Allen, you are very weird and complex. Now, that is such a dumb douchebaggy Hollywood thing to do. He
Yeah.
knows that. I'm sure. How many people
Just
walked
begging
up
her
to
to
him
sign
and were
this
like,
thing, just bugging her.
"Sign
and, like,
my hammer tool, man"? It's like,
Right?
wait, like,
Yeah,
What
and to
the
get upset that she wrote some kind of like, disparaging kind of like a joke remark, but he kind of took it too seriously, and he was like, I was gonna hang this in my screening room, man.
I think that's funny to
Wow.
me. If
Yeah.
she had written that on a prop for me, I love it.
I
Yeah.
would never shut up about how like, yeah, and I like hounded her for days, and she fucking writes "stolen by Tim Allen." Oh, she got me.
Right.
Like, that's
Yep.
incredible.
And I'd be hanging up. Yep, I stole this from the Nostromo. Yep.
But apparently he bought it like in an online auction. It was like an original piece of the Nostromo. And there's some other stories of him on set of just like Sam Rockwell and Justin Long and just different people talking about like he was kind of like not a huge asshole, like not impossible to work with, but just like a Hollywood kind of asshole. And like he was rude to Justin Long the first time they met.
You can't be
maybe
rude to
method.
Justin Long.
Here's
Yeah.
the two
Maybe
things.
method, yeah.
Now he's so into it. Supposedly Dean Parisot said this guy was encyclopedic. He could tell you titles of Star Trek episodes, what happened into them, lines. He could cite it all.
Well,
He came up with the idea, Tim Allen, to when the ship lands to the little people to get the beryllium to go, oh, it's breathable air, I guess. He came up with that joke because he would point out logic inconsistencies in the script.
You don't know
and be
if
like,
that's air is breathable.
Well, but for him to be like, yeah, well, let's comment on that. Let's, and that's exciting to me. I like that. And then supposedly Alan Rickman came up to him and like after a week of shooting, very icy, very tense, and went, I just realized what you're doing. I think it's going to work. I think it's going to be great. It's just not my kind of thing. I just wanted to say, like, no tension or anything. I just realized we're maybe not getting along here, but I totally get what you're doing now. And I think Alan Rickman, that's kind of an asshole thing to come off and say, but to go like, you maybe get this more than the rest of us. You aren't, because you got to almost even give it to him to not do like a Shatner cadence talking. I was thinking about this when Mike was doing it earlier. That would be the easy trapping too.
Yeah.
But Tim Allen kind of navigates around every hurdle while also going, but I do get it. Wink, wink. Like I am in on the joke.
Yeah,
and
he
that's
doesn't
impressive.
straight up, like he doesn't do a straight up impression of Shatner, which is good, but he just has some like sort of minor allusions to him, like the way he sits in the chair and stuff like that. But he doesn't go full Shatner, which is I think the right decision.
Yes,
right. And he somehow knows how to capture the spirit of a actor who can be somewhat difficult. I guess he can really embody that role in this.
Apparently, I guess Justin Long, his first day on set, he was sitting in Tim Allen's chair, and Tim Allen just came in and like stared at him and like was rude to him, and just a lot of, I guess he just joked. He made a lot of fart jokes on set, which people are like why are you joking so much? We're trying to shoot this. So I think probably Alan Rickman was like, let's just get through this. Like you guys are joking too much.
I think he's from that Mel Gibson, George Clooney pranking era where like movie stars, it was like, you'll never believe what they get up to on set. They're always making fart jokes and pushing people. We're all just like,
and Alan Rickman is just like, I'm just trying to like do the shots here.
I came from the West End of theater. Like, I'm not doing fart jokes with you.
And one last Tim Allen is an asshole story.
Yes.
They screened Alien for the cast, and they were watching it, and there's that scene where Sigourney Weaver's like in her underwear, and he just like shouts out like, "Ooh, baby," or something like that, and just
oh no.
It's like,
that's
why
your coworker.
The problems seem to be with Sigourney. I'm not liking any of these.
It almost seems like he doesn't know how to act around women sometimes, which is
or I think
he was
an extremely horny nerd, is what it's sounding like, who met the woman of his dreams and could not deal with that reality.
Could not be a professional. Yeah.
I don't like
that. Interesting that some of the
very well cast as a William Shatner type,
as an asshole womanizer.
Yeah,
right. Who doesn't get along with Alan Rickman, in real life or in character? Fascinating. Life imitates art. Of course, sometimes, I guess.
These days he was on that Last Man Standing show where he's like, man, this show, the Hollywood liberals, if they were into it, like it wouldn't have been canceled, blah blah blah. Like I can't,
I'd be winning best comedy actor every week if people, let me vote for Trump. Or like,
I've seen a couple episodes. This is how I feel about all TV comedies, but it's not good. But that's everything on network is not good. So whatever.
That's a very kind of old school. Like he's just trying to do Home Improvement again.
Yeah, he's just doing time again.
Yeah. But and also just Tim Allen, obviously he was arrested for cocaine smuggling and ratted out a bunch of people to get out of jail.
Everybody. I'll name every name on the planet.
Fucking rat on
he's
top
a snitch.
Of it.
Yeah, he's
not
a good guy.
Yeah,
not
great.
Cool. Well, this probably is his best performance then.
This is the role
Without
that
a doubt.
like the most, because I usually don't like the Santa Claus movies.
So in another world, Jacob, the fact that it's coming up on Thanksgiving now, we're about to get like 8 episodes of a Santa Claus Disney Plus TV show that is like the 4th iteration of him playing the Santa Claus character. Do you think in another world he would be doing like what would be the Picard equivalent for the Commander on, Paramount Plus?
Sure, yeah. I mean,
man.
They could still make a sequel. They could make a mini series. They could go.
What
do
we
do?
Directions. Let's talk about it. What do we do here, guys?
All right.
I think Galaxy Quest 2. I think that would be a hit. Like 20 years later, you could kind of do like, all the actors are older now. It's kind of like this era of, Shatner and stuff as the old man. I mean, a lot of the OG actors are dead now, unfortunately, but they could have Alan Rickman's character die, and that could be kind of a subplot.
And don't you think the joke is the J.J. Abrams movies? They do a comment on Galaxy Quest has been rebooted. It has been,
it's been recast even.
Well, we see at the end, right? They're doing the new show or whatever. Maybe that show gets canceled after a while. They're doing, like you said, a reboot with a new young cast.
Zachary Quinto is Dr. Lazarus.
Yes.
That would be incredible.
Get a Chris Pine type to come in, and then it's like they could make it like a Generations thing where it's like, oh, we're asking the original cast back, but they're in like minor roles or whatever to kind of make these younger
like a same
actors look
time
better.
travel thing from the Abrams movie. Like you the same kind of. Then that's how you get at least the two, Sigourney Weaver and Tim Allen, to be in the plot with their recast people. Sam Rockwell's still doing it, probably.
Yeah,
Sure.
Tony Shalhoub, come on.
Yeah, why not? But
Saren has never stopped. He's found Omega 14. It blah blah blah, and it
Yeah,
so I wanted comedians. Paul Scheer was the most recent, who was like, Amazon is greenlighting him to be the showrunner. He's going to do a Galaxy Quest TV show. I don't know show versus movie about you guys. To me, it's like the idea that they bought show happens to old TV stars now would be a TV show, but to me that is a movie solid gold premise. So I would like Galaxy Quest 2.
Yeah. The Wrath of Saris. I want that because if there was a Galaxy Quest show, I would want it to just be the show, never give up, never surrender,
which is the Orville. Yeah.
Not having the element of real life versus, you know what I mean? So
sure.
I'd rather have a movie sequel that kind of is a similar premise. Maybe the Thermians show up again and whatever.
Yeah, maybe there's like Saris had some family member that's like out for revenge now. That would be like the wrath of whatever that person's name is.
And he's got 2 eye patches, Jacob.
Yes, 100%.
Bring back Justin Long's character. He's like a 30-year-old Trekkie now. Yeah, it would be great.
And we've established that alien life exists. So who knows what effect that had on the cast and Justin Long.
Right.
Like he could be working with who knows what's the relationship with humans and Thermians.
Yeah, Missy Piles is on Earth. She's a squid.
Yeah, well, I think they cover up for most people. They cover up the alien incident, like because they come in at the end, and it just looks like this good special effects, right? When they come into the con.
Yeah, but Justin Long is Sam Witwicky.
MC just keeps saying, "All right,
he gets to work with the government."
I just keeps going. Like,
yeah, what about a miniseries based around Justin Long's character?
Working for the government with the Thermians, developing new technology.
He's doing so many good interviews. I'm going to check when we get off here if he said anything about Galaxy Quest in the last week or two, Jacob. I'm sure he's like, I love everything.
I don't know if it's recent, but I do know he said at one point, like, yeah, I'd love to do another Galaxy if it was respectful to the first movie. Like, I'd sign on.
Yeah,
of course.
Just make
respectful, because this movie does deserve to be respected.
That's right.
And with all due respect, maybe it's time to get on into final thoughts. As we wrap up this quest in the galaxy on Normies Like Us.
Like Grabthar's hammer, I shall avenge you.
We're back. We're wrapping things up here. Talking Galaxy Quest on Normies Like Us. This beautiful, beautiful comedy that I think we all kind of gushed about. Obviously, if anybody had any other opinions, you could tell us. We're fine with that. But any final thoughts on this one, guys?
I just think it, holds up very well. You can go back and watch it today and just be like, wow, what a great underlooked kind of movie that should have got more attention, should have got a sequel. And it's just fun. It's fun if you're a Star Trek fan. Even if you're not, if you're just a general sci-fi fan, I think you'll appreciate it. You don't have to know all the Star Trek references, that's for sure.
No, but you liked it as a kid, Jacob, and here you are after watching like 6 different Star Trek series and like 12 Star Trek movies, and it's like, how could you not appreciate it more?
Right, now I get all the references and everything. Yeah, I probably haven't, I don't know if I'd ever rewatched it since I saw it in theaters in the year 2000.
Really?
I may have watched it once since then, I'm not sure, but
wow.
22 years, yeah.
It's about the length of time between when their show was canceled and the conventions were happening. About
well, you were a child pilot, Jacob, we should say.
Yeah. But yeah, I was very into Phantom Menace at the time. I was super into pod racing, as all young boys were in the year 2000, most
Boy,
likely.
Paka
we ever?
Zebo Zabulba.
Yeah.
Jake Lloyd talking to talking to
Jake Lloyd was
nothing.
like my favorite actor when I was 10.
Yeah,
I was
oh,
like,
I'm
"He said
positive.
my name."
He's your character. Is your insert character. Like, I want to be
Essentially,
hanging
yeah.
out with the Jedi.
Are you an
as a
angel?
10-year-old.
Are you an angel?
Yeah,
He
love
Paka
him.
Weepo Zabulba. Do you guys remember when he says that?
I do. I just like
Poodoo.
Poodoo.
Yeah.
Voodoo.
Do you think this movie would have been any better if Harold Ramis directed, or how would it be different? I
An
wonder.
interesting question.
Yeah.
I think it would be more comedy forward, and from what you've told me about Dean Parisot, he really seemed to be more towards the authentic. And I
Make
think
it a good
that's-
movie with comedy in it, but it's not just like
And but that's the mark of
stands on
good
its own.
satire. Like
Yeah.
what? And just in the question of like parodies of a genre thing that weren't real doing this kind of thing. Is there any other movie that can kind of stack up against this?
Spaceballs would be
Blazing
the
Saddles.
only one I can think of. Yeah.
Blazing Saddles. I mean, you guys are naming like parody movies, yes,
Right.
and this is very much a parody movie, yes, totally. But like again, it's commenting on something on television that you weren't really commenting on in movies, so it's not like the direct one-to-one of like Star Wars to Spaceballs, right?
Right.
Yeah,
This is-
and Spaceballs is like, if you took away all the parody stuff, like it's just the plot of Star Wars essentially. This
Yes,
movie is
this
like
is a
wholly
movie.
different
Yes,
thing.
yes.
Yeah.
Very true. A very good point to make, Jacob.
Then I will continue to say Blazing Saddles because it's like its own thing that's kind of lampooning a genre, but the plot
That is a
itself
good answer.
stands separate. Like it's not just redoing the beats of another Western. So that's right.
And Blazing Saddles is the best Western of all time. This is the greatest Star Trek movie of all time. So that
Well, because they're
absolutely
both
tracks.
the most deconstructive, reflexive look at those genres. How about that?
Yeah.
I
Wow.
love that, Mike.
And there's been some other kind of movies dealing with, like there's that movie Trekkies, which I haven't seen. That's kind of like a love letter to Star Trek fans.
Fanboys was the
Fanboys.
love letter to just the idea of people who liked Star Wars. So that would be almost making this movie entirely from Justin Long's point of view, right?
Yeah. Wow.
Right.
Can I ask you guys a question? Do you know what? Do you remember from the documentary what fans of Galaxy Quest are known as in universe?
Oh, Questies? I don't remember.
I can't remember.
Questarians. The least elegant version.
Sure.
And of course, as a Questarian.
Well, because they had Trekkers and Trekkies, and
Right.
Trekkers was the preferred term. Now they're one and the same, a Trekkie and a
Yes.
Trekker. So it's
But
like
we
the
call it
Seen as like a
Questarian.
derogatory term,
Yes.
whereas they're like,
Yes.
no, we're Trekkers, not Trekkies.
No, I'm a Trekkie. Okay, call me.
Yeah.
Address me properly.
Proud
I
Trekkie.
do think it's funny that Justin Long, when he's like, no, it's all real. And he's like, I knew it. It's like, you should not, like, that's a crazy thing to
No.
actually believe.
But the
You're a
2 seconds
crazy
beforehand
person.
where he's like, I just want you to know, like, it's not my whole life. And when he's giving that speech, I am
Yeah,
like,
it's a show.
God.
And Tim Allen's trying to like apologize, but then because Justin Long feels like he
real.
angered his idolized actor, like he still feels he needs to be like explaining himself when Tim Allen should have, you know what I mean? It just shows the
Right.
parasocial relationship between fan and actor and how if you're abrasive towards fans just because like that could fuck with them, you know? Look what happened when you met your Sigourney Weaver, you know, your hero, and she wrote a mean message to you. How did you feel, Tim Allen?
Yeah.
Fucking incel. Fucking Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Never
I
gonna
don't like
remember
Tim
that.
Allen.
No, but if I
Uh,
could, I just throw my
yeah.
final thoughts out there. Again, what I feel like this movie, it's obviously a love letter to Star Trek and all of it. You know, the fandom, the
And all
history, the
sci-fi,
legacy, right?
all genre. It's saying it's okay to be a fan of genre films.
Of
and, like,
anything, yeah.
and be nerdy about it. That's okay.
The aliens literally are a entire alien race of super diehard fans, right? Like,
Yeah.
and they're literally saved by the actors from a fictitious program, right? So I think that it feels like it's a plea. Like to me, whoever made this, they're like, please, George Takei and William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy and Michelle Nichols, just get along, because a lot of people were moved by some of the work you did. So it would be
Right.
cool if you didn't hate each other, because you know, a lot of people are attached to this thing you did. So at least stand in the same room and be respectable at a con at the minimum, right? Like, can we please get along?
They have done that in the past. It's funny though. I was just reading literally like last week an article about how George Takei and William Shatner, they still hate each other to this day. Like they've kind of made up before, but even now they're just like, we don't like each other.
George Takei loved this movie, we should say.
Yeah, he said it was a very chilling documentary, I think is what he said. And Shatner saw it and said, I didn't recognize who Tim Allen was playing, but I did see like a Nichelle Nichols type character in there.
Yeah, I liked the
say
rest.
that. Yeah.
Blind.
Yeah, and of course George Takei, very sort of liberal, outspokenly liberal, also, you know, obviously gay and everything. Shatner, outspokenly conservative. So they just never got along, and you can tell obviously when in the last movie, like he's captaining his own ship now. He's barely with the main cast.
They got second unit doing all that. Yeah.
Yeah, to hold on to a grudge for 60 years, I mean, is it worth it? I don't know. We only have so much time on this planet. Don't hold grudges, right? That's the message.
That's
for a job you had, Jacob. Can you imagine fucking what were you, Red Lobster? No, you were
Outback.
Outback
Can you imagine being like, that goddamn cook at Outback? I'll kill him if I ever see him. 40 years later.
Right, yeah. Like you don't even have to like get along. You don't have to like interact that much. Just, you know, for fan appearances and stuff, just be in the same location or whatever. But
yeah, and at the bottom line, you are also getting paid for that stuff. It's like, you know, like
you're getting paid for the autographs. You can,
right?
If you're agreeing to do it, be gracious.
I just think it's sad. I mean, they're the only two left except for Chekhov, right? It's them and Chekhov.
Yeah. Yeah, crazy. When Walter Koenig. The ones that we have left, I'm not extremely happy. We lost Spock, and that was kind of it for me with Star Trek. And Nichelle. Yeah, God bless you.
Scotty.
The good
Bones in the 90s.
Yeah, my dad was sad about Bones dying. Me, I have no idea.
Yeah, just the bad ones.
But at least, you know, the TNG actors, they seem to get along pretty well. Obviously, Jonathan Frakes and Patrick Stewart remained good friends for a long time.
Sirtis and LeVar Burton, you know, they seem to get along, and they're all coming back for
they all get along.
Season 3 of Picard.
That's right, for Season 3 of Galaxy
Voyager,
Quest.
like I said, there was some tensions between Kate Mulgrew and Jerry Ryan. DS9 was mainly good, except I guess, you know, Captain Sisko, Avery Brooks, he's just kind of a reclusive guy.
Nobody seems to enjoy his presence, unfortunately.
He has an
which is very interesting
method of acting, I guess, too.
Yes.
He says it's like jazz.
I mean, I love him. You could say he overacts sometimes. I love him, but he's an interesting guy.
Yeah, he's not come back for any of this.
No.
So let me just say real quick, we came off spooky season. We watched all horror movies for the month long. We took our break. Literally every horror movie ever.
Yep.
And we took our break and didn't watch a Star Trek. And to come into this where, and Jacob knows this, to cool down post that, I've just been watching like ensemble comedies or whatever. Not even like genre stuff, so not necessarily like sci-fi or whatever. But then to insert this into the equation, I'm like, get me back on that Trek run, baby. I am so excited for Generations coming up.
Yeah. Well, we did this one a little early this month because we got some good things planned for the next couple weeks. And then we have December. We might switch it up a little bit in December. Yeah. Stay tuned for that. But I think new year, new cast, Generations in January. I'm excited for it. Yeah.
Wow.
Especially seeing the passing of the torch, maybe reluctantly on the big screen, you know? All the behind the scenes.
The long-awaited meetup of Picard and Kirk, right?
Is this the one with the dune buggy?
No, this is the one with three old men fighting on a bunch of scaffolding. He
wants to live on a machine. Yeah. Okay. He wants to join the founders.
What is the first one after that called? The First Contact. That's the first Pure
Contact
Blood TNG.
Yeah, that's the Big Borg one. Then there's Nemesis is the last one. Then there's
the last one.
Insurrection is the middle one, which is fine. Yeah, we'll get to it though.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. And then we're going to be out of Trek, so we'll kind of cook up what our next long-formy thing is.
We
right?
can roll into the Abrams, right? We got
That's
3
right.
Abrams
Oh, that's
movies
right.
as well.
We
And
do
maybe we'll
have
a
the,
fourth by the time we get to it.
Kelvin to be.
So we have
very well
7
might.
more Trek movies. Yeah, and well, I guess it was originally supposed to be a 4th Trek movie in December 2023. That's now been put on hold, I think, because none of the actors are signed on yet. So who knows? But
All right. Well,
Yeah.
you know what? Yeah, screw it. Galaxy Quest 2. Just do that instead. Yeah.
Wouldn't mind it.
No.
absolutely.
Well, yeah. This is a very excellent non-Star Trek thing. And I'm glad we watched it again. After the horror.
It's a great
kinda,
suggestion by Colin to have this as a palate cleanser between eras, I think. Yeah.
And it's a great way to get you in the mindset of like this type of story and world, because you're thinking about, all the fans and what it's inspired and the spin-offs, kind of the scope of Star Trek itself. This being reflexive of that. It's like, yeah, what am I going to tackle next? Generations.
Now, is that where you go with Galaxy Quest 2, Mike? Is it not the reboot? Is it the spin-offs? Do you do Galaxy Quest Generations? Oh, when you guys got that show, blah, 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 and bring those 2 casts together?
It's either that or because they've rebooted it and you have the young versions of their characters. Yeah.
And you can have some references to like the Picard show where it's like,
You're so old, Tim Allen.
Oh, you can have a show called Taggart. That's just
Yeah.
old Tim Allen.
Taggart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just say like, oh, well, when they did the spinoff with that bald cat commander, and you're like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
It's been a long time, Commander. Like the cryptic trailer for it. I can see it now. Yeah.
Jordan
Galaxy
Peele
Quest: The
plays
Next
like
Generation.
a guy who is like Data, like a robot. That'd be
Yeah.
great.
Oh, yeah. That'd be
Put it
really
in,
good.
baby. I'd love it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think there's a lot you could do. Hey, greenlight it. Let's go. Come on.
Do
Jordan's a
something with
fan
it.
of the
is our
genre.
point.
Yeah, definitely.
So, all right, Normies. That was Galaxy Quest. As always, hit us up at Normies_like_us on all social media, where you can reach out to us and be like, well, one, answer this question. I just want to know this. Did you watch this movie? How old are you?
Did you see it in
Have you
theaters
seen
like
this
me
film?
when you were
Did
10
you
years
see it in
old?
theaters like Jacob? And are you just listening to this going like, wow, I don't know what these guys are talking about. I don't know what Galaxy Quest is, but I'll be around for the next Trek one. I want to know that too. I would hope you actually watch this movie, listeners.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, it's an underrated gem. So definitely check it out.
Yeah.
Please.
A Star Trek
I think
fan
we
or
all
not
agree
Star
on
Trek
that.
fan. Yeah, I think there's something to enjoy here. Even though Tim Allen's in it, you can enjoy this movie.
Despite that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in spite of that. But otherwise, we've been your host. This is Colin Fleegman.
Gwen DeMico.
And this is Commander Jacob Taggart.
Yeah.
Never give
right.
up. Never surrender.
By Grabthar's hammer. What a bargain. Is that what he said?
Oh,
Yep.
what savings.
Oh, what saving.
You will be avenged. Catch you later, listeners.
Bye.
Bye.